Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft episode on this beautiful day. My name is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I just love doing these videos, and I'm excited because they're all basically in some way or another about taking charge of your life. They're about becoming the boss of your brain, and the fact that my doctorate in cognitive psychology just has me so excited about talking about rewiring the brain. It's just so exciting. So today I wanted to talk about learned optimism, because sometimes I think people think with various things, somebody's happiness or somebody's, optimism very closely related, somebody's this, somebody's that they sort of won, the optimistic lottery ticket or something like, and they got the lucky golden Wonka ticket. No, it doesn't work like that. Now, can we separate genetics, from human behavior and even non-human behavior? No. Even, obviously non-human animals are doing all kinds of behavior that's also genetically related, but that's this much of it. So research has shown over and over and over again that that we can actually make some pretty significant changes in our lives, even recently, even personality, which for, up until very recently, that was thought to be unheard of. And so it's nice to know we can learn this. So let's talk about the difference first, right? So pessimistic people, and I have to say too, it's way more about just something as basic as, half full and half empty. And there's the middle, right? Life doesn't happen here and here only. There's the middle. But the half full part, it's more than that, because optimism is a practice and a lifestyle that involves a lot of things. And the pessimists are practicing too. It's just not working out very well. So the three things that pessimists they're part of being a pessimist very much are the three P's. So it's easy to remember because the pessimist starts with a P too, obviously, is everything is personal, pervasive, and permanent. And I have to tell you, one of my favorite comedians, Loretta Love, she just passed a while, but at 90 something, not very, very long ago, but she just was so funny because she would talk about, her topics were all about this stuff, all stress related things. One of my favorites was the joy of stress. But anyway, she used to talk about the pessimist, and she was so funny. Like, everything's about me and everything's personal. Everything's like, why? And so she does this really funny thing with like a mock scenario where somebody walks into work and everybody at work is used to her being whiny and crabby, crispy, and just a negative Nelly, right? And she comes in and she said, "Oh my God, it's raining." This is the next day, actually. "I was off, and it rained on my day off. How come it always rains on my day off?" And then she says, first of all, get an umbrella. But she said, the thing is that, she's like, "What do you think, the clouds have a conspiracy? That it only rains on your day off? Forever and always?" And so that's certainly a part of being a pessimist. And they also use words that are super, they don't exist in reality. So they're very extreme. So words like always and never, something that, it always rains on my day off. That means every day off you've ever had in your whole life that it rains or ever will have. Or no one likes me. There are currently around 8 billion people in the world. So that's mathematically probably not very possible. So using and never, the sun rises and sets every night, thank goodness, right? But eventually even that will become a supernova. So you just gotta, the wording that they use isn't healthy. They're also doing a lot of woulda, shoulda, couldas, which is, a form of rumination. The optimists don't do that as much. And this is a really fun place to talk about the difference here, because persistence is to just keep on keeping on, right? Keeping on doing something. It's interesting how that can go one of two directions. And it's all about intention. So we can persist in a bad way. Like Carl Jung would say, that which we resist will persist. So the pessimists are going to dig their claws in and stick with, she said, I told a lie about me in 3rd grade and I can't let go of it. And then somebody said something at work and it made me think about it. Dig. So that which we resist is going to persist and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we have the optimists who are big with persevering, right? So persist, that word goes two different ways, and it's all about intention. When we have a really positive intention, that's when we end up persevering and we get what we want out of life, right? The high majority of what we want out of life, we persevere. We're focused, We're full of optimism. We get excited when we think about that new project we're working on, and we run with it. And then if without intention or with an intention that's just negative, that is perseverate, both coming from the word persist, right? So perseverating means to just keep mulling it over and over again and feeling, I could have done that and would have done that and should have done that, and all the regret and the guilt and the net and net and net and net. So that's basically the whole pessimistic idea. And sadly, this is an explanatory style. It's not just like a pessimist doesn't just wake up one day and that was the one day of pessimism. It's not like that. It's a lifestyle for them too, which thankfully can be changed. We're going to get to that, because that explanatory style comes into their relationships, with the partner, with kids, with parents, with colleagues, co-workers, with the neighbors' beagles. I mean, it just comes into everything, right? And so, or most things, let's say. And so, because that's just their autopilot. Now, again, thankfully, this can be learned. So we're going to get to this. So we know also that, they also are more apt to get stuck in depression. They're more prone to depression to begin with. But when they sort of kind of manifested the depression, they also have a much tougher time climbing out of it than somebody who's not as pessimistic would have. Somebody who has, something clinical, like Marty Seligman himself, father of positive psychology, is so open about it. He, somebody who has the optimistic, has the learned optimism, is more open to treatments and help, and more open to climbing out and also seeing a better future. So the optimists in general are less apt, about 50% less apt to even come into depression. They're about half the rate it happens again. And if they do, it's much easier for them to climb out. They tend to do better than expected in sports, grades, at work, projects, whatever they're doing. They also have healthier relationships. They have much happier, healthier relationships. They have better immune systems. We optimists don't get sick as often. When we do, we get better faster. It's just the truth. It doesn't mean that somebody's optimistic like this, kind of annoyingly optimistic every second of every day. No, that isn't optimism. That's like the Pollyanna syndrome. I think Loretta Roach talks about her too. The Pollyanna is the one who says, "Gee, oh, you lost your arm. It looks like you lost your arm. Ah, well, you got another one. You've gotten to stop. Quit your whining." No, the optimist isn't about that. The optimist also has a splash of real. We're not sliding in. We're not talking about toxic positivity where we bury our emotions. The optimist has a lot of clarity, knows that, okay, this bad breakup just happened with my friend. I got to dig into that and help her through it, and then help her to shift out of it. Or if it's you, the optimist, and to feel is to heal. We're not saying that, but the optimist is not going to reside there. The pessimist is going to dig in and mull and just like quicksand. The optimist feels it, has a really good cry, and I'm not saying that is just over in one day either, but then they do make a conscious choice to shift out of it. That is the difference. Optimists are also significantly less apt to drop dead of cardiovascular disease and all the things that go with that. Like that covers a lot of ground. Heart attacks, strokes, all the angina, all that stuff. And in general, we get the jobs more frequently, and we're just liked better. We're just liked better because, just like even the law of attraction, like negative attracts negative. So sometimes people will say, "Oh, misery loves company," and we just want a little correction on that. Misery does love company, but we need to clarify: misery loves miserable company. The good vibes also attract more good vibes, and that's just how it goes. So now here's the thing is. The learned part is very cool, and I'm a big fan of skills over talent. Talent's great. We don't want to toss out the Mozarts and the Michael Phelpses and the Nadia Comaneci. She's from way back, a gymnast way back when. That's all wonderful, and the Einsteins and everything else. I just really get excited when there's a skill set I can learn. It's empowering. It gives me agency. So if now somebody tells me I can learn to be optimistic, I can also emulate people who are a little farther down the optimistic path of optimistic lifestyle. I can watch them. I can emulate them. Doesn't mean I'm trying to be them. I'm trying to be me, my very best me. though I can watch them shift out of their mindset. Maybe they have some tips and tricks for doing that. And I like that about the skill set because it gives somebody hope and agency and control. Control that, wow, I can learn this. If I got the awareness now. I know that the pessimism thing isn't working for me anymore. That's the first step. We can't do what we don't know. Once we know better, we can do better, right? And reaching out and starting to hang around more positive people and far away from negative people. It doesn't mean you got to cut them loose entirely. You got to, I guess, weigh that out where they are on the scale of negative. You want to spend less time with them for sure. You want to really be very conscious and have a really good mindset going in for that tea if you're going to do it so that you don't sink. Like, that's kind of like I say, that's like jumping on the Titanic. I mean, it's not a great idea. So what we can do is we can help teach people who are kind of stuck in that pessimistic mindset to become aware of when the catastrophic thinking starts. Oh no, I have this presentation coming. I know it's going to be terrible. I got stuck on a lousy team. I'm the high achiever. What if one of them doesn't show up? What if my stuttering habit from first grade comes back? The catastrophe, I just know it's going to go terribly, and I just got in this new relationship, and my anxiety, here we go, my anxiety always gets the best of me. Or, when will my depression ever let up? And so you're in this great relationship for just a few weeks, and then there it goes, spirals down. So we can really help be supportive with people now obviously they have to do the work themselves. I'm just saying support, we all benefit from support. So if there's anybody pessimistic in your life who wants to shift out of that is also key. That is really the biggest deal. We're talking about Minecraft becoming the boss of your brain. The pessimist, it's kind of like throwing somebody who's starting to go underwater a life raft. Because we all have situations in our lives, I think, right, when we've had the life raft thrown to us, or the life or a little buoy or whatever, when you just can't tell which end is up, right? So if the pessimist is locked into that, then we throw him or her or them some support if they want it. Because here's the thing, pessimism, like any other internal cyclic dialogue, is reinforcing. So if they're deep into that and they don't want the help, as hard as it is, because they can be annoying to be around. It's just they're draining. They are. And they drain themselves. That's the worst part about it all, I guess. Or I guess draining just period. The optimists tend to have like a force field for it. So we're kind of sensitive to the negativity. But if they ask for it or insinuate a little bit, throw them a line and try to, and then there's a ton of good resources out there. The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker is probably one of the best ones. And there's Mindset by Carol Dweck, another good one. I use both of those in my Minecraft class. So we got to just, to teach them to really, to nip it in the bud. We talked about that 17-second thing. Tell them that too. After about 17 seconds, it's much tougher to get rid of a thought. We can do it. We can absolutely do it, but it's like it's a heavier lift. So teach them about that. And also teach them that the same is true for the positive thoughts, and learn to slowly replace the negative with the positive. The presentation that's coming, I really have prepared quite a bit. If somebody else doesn't show up, I don't have any control over that. I'm not saying I would enjoy that, but why am I spending my valuable life minutes rehearsing something that may not even happen, right? All I can control is me and the work that I'm doing. And whether it's a professor or somebody out in the professional work world, I can communicate and let them know. And so really, I'm saving a whole lot of emotional energy, my life minutes, to put into the project if I stop all of that what-ifing and catastrophizing and just work on the presentation and maybe help them with those things. Also educate them maybe on how primal it is. We are all very prone to negative thinking from way back in the time when great glaciers were shifting. We were ducking into caves, trying to hide from, large carnivorous reptiles. And so that was quite an adaptive method to survive back then. But now that's turned into, when you're about to be eaten by a raptor or a flying, a pterodactyl hovering overhead. Now it's like, oh, I forgot to answer my boss's email. It's the second time in a row. I didn't see it. And it's not the same level. About to being swooped up by these gargantuan talons and to be like the entree for a dinosaur is not the same thing as you didn't answer the boss's email or you left out of the holiday party and what happened. So it's really, really, really important to let them know that it's all coming from the limbic system in the brain, which I could do a whole nother, actually I have done episodes on that. So send them to the other episodes. The fight or flight response, because the brain doesn't know the difference between, feeling that real-time thing with the dinosaur chasing you and something we've created about, oh no, what's my boss going to think? I missed the email and there's a big thing in an hour. The brain doesn't know the difference between that. It just knows that the threat circuit switch was flipped on and the choices are, stand and fight with your ninja skills, run, or freeze and hope for the best. And that's what the brain does. And so educate them on this stuff. And this is such good news. It's hope, because skill sets bring hope to people, because you know that it's on you. Okay. So the fact that it's, that the anxiety and all that going on, if that's going on, is a brain thing, and that's not our fault. How we respond to it and deal with it is our responsibility. And my good friend Dr. Dave says that constantly. We can't do what we don't know. However, once we have the awareness, we have the responsibility. So optimism is a lifestyle that can absolutely be learned. And see more videos, you can also catch up with me on Instagram, KimberlyQuinn_official. And that's it. Like and subscribe and chat soon.